I wanted to take the opportunity to offer a comment on the desperate outburst that we heard on Tuesday, I think it was, from the Prime Minister concerning a job application to the Commonwealth Secretariat. I just want to say that, this outburst, this desperate outburst by the Prime Minister in Parliament is a plain admission that his attempts to starve me into submission has failed. And since the last general election, the Prime Minister has embarked upon a very sinister plan to suck the life out of the NDC by trying to deprive me and my family of a livelihood. Dr. Mitchell is a wicked man. Following the defeat of the New National Party in 2008, we paid, as Minister of Finance, I paid all of the ministers, including Dr. Mitchell, the gratuity that they were due under our laws. When a person is a minister in government and they leave the government, it is normal that they will be paid a gratuity equal to 20% of the salary that they earned over the 5-year period. Yes, in other words, 1 year's salary. Within 7 weeks of coming into office, on July the 8th, in 2008, we paid every single minister the gratuity. As if that was not enough, Dr. Mitchell came to the Parliament. He complained that the elections were on the 8th of July, that he had been paid by government up to the 30th of June, and that he had not been paid for the first 7 days of July, the 7 days before the elections that he called for July the 8th. He came to the Parliament and complained he had not received payment for those 7 days. Even though he had been paid his gratuity, even though he came and complained that he had not been paid for those 7 days, yet, now that Dr. Mitchell has won the elections, or now that he won the elections in 2013, and it is his turn to pay me my gratuity, I have not received a single cent from the government since that time. Not a single cent. We're talking about $72,000. Yes? We're talking about $72,000 that is owing to me, due to me, and payable to me. Not as a gift by Dr. Mitchell, not as an act of goodwill on his part, but monies that I am entitled to that he should have paid up to this point. It is now approaching 4 years since the last general elections. I have not received a cent from the government. I could have bought a bus and give somebody to drive, create a little job for somebody, and earn some money for myself. I could have bought a fishing boat and give it to two fellas to earn a living fishing, get a little piece of fish for myself, and give the guys a livelihood. None of that is possible because Dr. Mitchell decided that paying me that gratuity will disrupt his political plan to kill the NDC. Now, in the immediate aftermath of the elections, I explored many options to sustain a livelihood and to support myself and my family. That included consulting opportunities. It included, first of all, setting up this law office in July of 2013, just getting off the ground. I had to take a loan to do that. It included exploring consulting opportunities. It included exploring business opportunities. It included exploring employment opportunities. Some of those were local, some of those were regional, some of those were extra-regional. Now, right here in Grenada, I submitted some expressions of interest to agencies and institutions that I had been connected with before I went into government, including St. George's University, where I taught for 6 years on a part-time basis before I became a minister of government. I was reliably informed by people who would know that as a result of interference by certain persons, my expression of interest in being engaged could not be favorably considered. In 2013, in the aftermath of the election defeat, and long before I became the leader of the NDC, in 2013, I was invited by a friend at the Commonwealth Secretariat to submit an application for consideration to fill the post of Deputy Secretary General of the Commonwealth, responsible for economic development. I considered it a signal honor to be even invited to submit such an application. I fully understood that no such application would be approved without contacting the Prime Minister of Grenada. I fully understood that. But knowing Dr. Mitchell, I did not expect him to lend support to that application. My only surprise is that he did not come out and boast before Tuesday, about his power to deprive me and my family out of a livelihood. Dr. Mitchell presented that story as if to make it appear that this is something new that has happened recently, that now on the eve of the election, I'm trying to abandon the NDC, I'm trying to abandon the country, I'm not interested in the future of the country, and that somehow I'm looking to run out of the country. This is the image that he's presenting. But Dr. Mitchell, we know him. We know him. This practice of lies, this practice of deceit, this practice of manipulation is not new. As I said before, Dr. Mitchell's hope was to destroy the NDC. At one point, he boldly declared that the NDC was dead. I'm sure some of you would have heard that statement. The NDC was dead as far as he was concerned. His thinking was, if he could destroy me, then he would destroy the NDC. But luckily, God is the person sharing bread, not man. God is sharing bread, not man. I do not depend on Dr. Mitchell for my survival. I will not be dependent on him for my survival. That is why I can freely challenge his arrogance. I can freely expose his lies and his deceit. So I'm not worried about that at all. Now that he has failed in his bid to take away Camahon Park from the people, now that he has failed in his bid and has suffered such a humiliating defeat in the Constitution referendum, he's angry. He's an angry man. Our message to Dr. Mitchell today is, you have more of the same thing coming. That's our message to him. You have more of the same thing coming. The people of Grenada has had enough of Dr. Mitchell and are telling him in no uncertain terms, it is time for him to go. The reality is, they've had enough of his tomfoolery, his lies, his deceit, his manipulation, his pettiness and his vindictiveness, and want to move on into a bright new future for themselves and the children. So as you present his story to the public about me applying for work and so, it's fair and it's reasonable that you present the context and the public understand what is the history behind this, what are his motivations, and why is it he's so angry at this particular point in time. I'm not carrying any anger towards Dr. Mitchell. I have nothing against his family. I respect his right to earn a living. Whether I'm in government or out of government, I have no intention of trying to block his livelihood or to hold up any payments that he's entitled to as a minister of government. It is petty, it is childish, and it is cowardice to be taking the stand that he's taken. We are focused. We are determined to bring positive change to this country. So we are not going to engage in any name calling and any unnecessary attacks on persons and trading of insults. Our responsibility at this time is to stay focused, organized, consistent and purposeful so that we can bring the positive change that Grenada needs at this time in our history.
Now that you have set the record straight, you highlighted the issue that up to now we have not received the gratuity. Are you going to be pursuing any means or so on to?
Well, we have written to the Ministry of Finance on several occasions on this. We have made proposals. We have said, listen, we are owing some property taxes for our properties. Instead of asking me to pay those property taxes, take it out of the money and give us the balance. As you every year you have to pay your property taxes and so on. We've made suggestions like those. They're saying yes, but no movement, nothing at all. Months would pass, no answers, and just complete ignorance. Right? I am sure that the public servants the senior public servants in the Ministry of Finance and Inland Revenue and so on would love to resolve this problem. I have no doubt in my mind that they are acting on the instructions and directions of the Minister of Finance. His decision is a political decision. It's not based on an inability of the ministry to pay. The minister boasts every time that they are making so much revenue. They are exceeding the revenue targets. They're experiencing less expenditure. They are realizing a primary surplus. They are paying all of the creditors and so on. It means that there is money there. And if you're owing me $72,000, then it cannot be that you can't pay it. That's not the reason. It is clearly a decision not to pay it. So this is an act of spite, and that is why I'm saying Dr. Mitchell is a wicked man, and we must expose him for who he is. I do not expect a person at the level of a prime minister to be behaving in this way. And that is why he would never earn my respect as a leader. He may rule the country, but he would never be able to have me follow him. That's what a leader does. A leader is somebody that you want to follow. He would never get me to follow him because he's heading in the wrong direction. I do not share his values. I do not share his moral compass. And I consider his attitude as a national leader of so many years reprehensible.
Are you the only past government minister who has not been paid for training?
I cannot say so with certainty. I believe that some other ministers have been paid some portions of what they're entitled to.
Additionally, you said you admitted that you have some outstanding property taxes and so on that needs to be cleared up. The Prime Minister also made...
I'm saying, at the time that we were supposed to make these payments, we put that as a proposal in the hope of resolving the problem. In other words, if the government has a cash flow issue, yes, we can find a way to set off or do whatever needs to be done. It was a way to try and resolve the problem, because I was in the Ministry of Finance myself, and I understand that from time to time, government may have challenges. In this particular case, the minister is not saying we have financial challenges. They're simply refusing to pay.
The reason why I bring up that is because the Prime Minister also made mention that some former government ministers have not been paying their fair share of taxes.
I can tell you confidently, I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those. I file my returns every year, and it is for the government to evaluate it and tell me if they think there's a problem. That is not, I try to fulfill my responsibility at that level.
Just to confirm, in the Deputy Secretariat post, when was that done?
August or September of 2013. This was, a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay, and then you the letters written to the Ministry of Finance was done when? In terms of to resolve the issue?
There have been several letters throughout the last 3.5, 4 years. We've been writing letters. Yes, so it's not one letter, it's several letters. And we've had replies to some of those, we've had promises, we've had assurances, but absolutely nothing is actually happening. Yeah? And I'm sure it's not because of ill will on the part of the senior public servants.
So had you been successful in getting that position, you were willing to forfeit your position?
Well, no. Remember, I was not the leader of the party. That's the point I'm making. I was not the leader of the party. I'm talking about August of 2013 or September of 2013. Yeah. So I was not the leader of the party. And as I said, these were opportunities that were being explored in general. You know, you finish government, you don't have an income, you're looking for opportunities, whether they come in business or they come in consulting or they come as employment. If SGU at that point said to me, we're giving you a full-time position to teach, I need to live. I could work and do what I have to do, but I'm saying practically, let's look at it practically. Everybody needs to support themselves and their families, yeah? And so that question you're asking did not arise. It was not that situation that I was confronted with. Yeah? Okay, you have to run to the funeral. Yeah. Okay. Thank you
very much.